you who don't know me, my name's Addie, and I'm one of the organizers with the Washington Young Farmers Coalition. And if you weren't aware, this event is benefiting us. First and foremost, I have a very long list of people that I need to thank. Pegasus Coffee and the Harbor House and Jeff and Jocelyn. Thank you to Heyday Farm. Thank you to Friends of the Farms. And thank you to Town and Country Grocery. And thank you to the Bainbridge Graduate Institute. So, if you don't know anything about the Washington Young Farmers Coalition, we are a grassroots group of farmers, beginning farmers, young farmers, aspiring farmers all across the state who are really working to support, recruit, and promote the needs of young growers. And we began in the fall of 2010 around a mixer that happened on Vashon Island. We had over 250 people show up to this tiny little Grange Hall, and it became quickly clear that there was a need for an organization that was going to advocate for the needs of young growers. And so in the last 2 years, we've worked really hard to organize mixers, educational events. We've built partnerships with organizations like Friends of the Farm, Tilth Producers of Washington, Washington State Food and Farming Network. And slowly that work is really starting to pay off. I get to come to parties that I don't even organize. So this year is a really big year for us. We printed t-shirts for the first time, and they're for sale somewhere here. Lauren over there has them. She was jumping up and down. But more importantly, we've had an event scheduled every single weekend for May and June. We're working on organizing our 3rd annual statewide mixer this fall in October. And we are doing the first ever beginning young farmer track at the Tilth Producers Conference in November. So this is big, folks. And I think the most important takeaway message is that we are the Young Farmers Coalition. All of you in the audience are the Young Farmers Coalition. We exist for and by you, and we are what you will make of us. So we want your vision, your ideas, your energy. And I think one of the things that we've said from the beginning is what's going to make young farmers succeed is having a strong community of allies and supporters. And when I look out at the audience today, I see that we're well on our way to achieving that goal. So thank you for being here. So next, I'd like to introduce John Gardner, who is the Dean of the Bainbridge Graduate Institute.
Thank you, and thanks for the invitation, Jeff and Jocelyn and the Young Farmers, everything that made this happen. I do have the privilege of working for the Bainbridge Graduate Institute, and it's rather new for me. I've only been there about 10 months. But if you don't know about it, it's an audacious, private, charter business school on this island that started some 10 years ago and really offered the first MBA around sustainability. And some 10 years later, we have quite an experience under our belt, and we're growing up, so to speak. And one of the things we're growing into is a whole new realm of education. Starting in the fall, one of the certificates, a graduate certificate we're going to offer is in food and agriculture. And I'm going to have the privilege to be one of the instructors. I'm a dirt farmer from the Great Plains. I spent 20 years farming and ranching and doing research in agribusiness in North Dakota. And so I'm going to be one of the instructors, looking at it kind of from the dirt and from the farm down the supply chain. And I'm going to teach it with a partner, actually a Bainbridge graduate, Bainbridge graduate alumni, and also a Bainbridge Island resident. You may know him, Tony D'Onofrio. He's a former executive chef. He worked in a restaurant in northern Italy. A French academic, but now he's the sustainability coordinator for Town and Country Markets and is retailing food to you through those markets in the Puget Sound. And so Tony and I, kind of from the food all the way to the table and back and forth, we're going to do this, a certificate unlike any other, we think, in the country around the business design of more sustainable food and agricultural systems and businesses. And if you're interested, we'd love to have you both as potentially students, but also as real examples of real living farms and farmers that are going on in this region for our students. So I hope to get to know you much better, and I hope if you're interested in Bainbridge Graduate Institute, it's bgi.edu, and you might come look us up as well. Thanks for this whole event in the Young Farmers tonight.
Yeah. Good evening. Hello. I just wanted to welcome everybody. The Day Road, Suimatsu, Bentrin Family Farm, farmers. I want to invite and thank you for coming this evening. We're sponsoring the first Bainbridge Island Farm Stock annual event. But I want to especially thank Jeff and Jocelyn from the Harborside Hub. You know, Betsy Whittaker, Laughing Grove Farm, and myself went into the pub. I called Jeff. We were having some problems, needed direction, needed some support on our farm here. And Jeff said, yeah, come in, let's talk. And went in and talked about, you know, trying to get some capital, actually. And I said it'd be great, you know, if we had the Farmer Coalition come out and we sponsor some sort of a party out here. And actually, I wanted to have the party for Jeff, because so much that he's done for farming in our community. He calls me back the next day. He says, you know, I think I can get Joel Salatin. I think I can do this. We'll get a pig. Let's have a party. And here we are. So I asked Jeff yesterday, I said, why are you doing this? I mean, why are you and Jocelyn doing all this support? And he said, you know, I just want the farmers to come out and party and have a night, and we'll do it, and we'll bring the beer, and everybody will enjoy, and here we are. But I said, no, there's got to be something else. So I learned a little bit about Jeff and his background. He grew up on a farm in upstate New York. His dad was one of 21 kids growing up on a farm. So he understood farm life and how hard it is to farm. And from that 21 kids, none of them are farming. And they're selling family farms. And so now I understand where Jeff comes from. I mean, he wants to save you guys. He wants to help young farmers as much as he can so that you can keep farming. We talked about how, you know, generations ago, everybody had a connection to the farm. Everybody came from a farm. But it isn't that way anymore. And then I looked today, I was out here and I saw some kids playing hacky sack and long hair and just enjoying themselves out here on the farm. And I was looking back to me in the 70s when I was that age. 35 years later, I was wondering whether it was the right career choice I took. But, you know, when I did it, and one of the, I guess, you know, it failed maybe, we didn't have mentors. We didn't have anybody, we didn't have farmers that we could relate to. I mean, there were some old geezers and stuff that I, you know, worked with and stuff, but they didn't really understand. But I think there's hope, because I think the young farmers today, you know, there's myself, there's Betsy, there's some farmers around that can relate, they can relate to, you know, whether it's parent type of relation or whatever. But, you know, and I'm still a kid at heart and I can relate to them. So I think there is hope, and thank you all for coming.